All right, hi guys. So our last two videos were about naming ionic compounds. The first was going from the chemical formula to the name. The second video was going from the name back to the chemical formula. Today, for your third video of notes, you are going to learn how to name covalent compounds. In this video, we are going to be going from chemical formula to name and name from chemical formula all in one video, because covalent naming is much easier than ionic naming, okay? All right, let's dive on in. So the do now asked you to name SR4PO42. So SR is a group 1 and 2 metal, so we do not need to put the Roman numeral in there. So it's strontium. And then PO4 is a polyatomic ion. So it's going to be up here, and it is phosphate. So we should just write okay, strontium phosphate. The next question says to determine the chemical formula of cobalt-3 cyanide. Oh, cyanide. Well, gotta love Mr. Muthan spelling things wrong. All right, so let's see. So cobalt-3, cobalt is here. So it is a transition metal. So it's going to be CO. And because of the plus the 3 Roman numerals, it's going to take that plus 3 charge. This is supposed to be cyanide. I'm so sorry, guys. I'll change that. Cyanide is Cn, and it takes a -1 charge. Okay, so we crisscross our charges. So the -1 comes down to the base of the cobalt. The +3 comes down to the bottom of the cyanide. All right, and now we get rid of our sign. So it's cobalt 1, cyanide 3. Okay, those are your do now answers. Let's dive on into some notes. So since we are naming covalent compounds, I thought it'd be beneficial to review what a covalent compound is. And again, it is a nonmetal bonded to nonmetals. Okay, and it's a sharing of electrons. And then remember, you can either share equally, which is nonpolar, or you can share unequally, which is polar. Okay, nice. So we're going to go from the chemical formula to the name. So that's something like CO2 is our chemical formula, and we're going to turn that into its name, which is carbon dioxide. Okay, so chemical formula to the name. Okay, all right, let's dive on in. So let's name N2O3. So the first step says write the prefix for the subscript small number after the first listed element. Okay, write the prefix for the subscript after the first listed element. So here's the subscript. After the first listed element is 2. And we want to write the prefix. We're going to find 2 in our chart and write the prefix, which is di. So we're going to write di. Okay. Next step, we have di written so far. Now it says write the name of the first listed element. Again, just so you know, we're N2 O3. Okay, write the name of the first listed element. So di, and then the first element is nitrogen. Okay, now it says write the prefix for the subscript, the small number, after the second listed element. So the prefix of the second listed element is 3. So we're going to go find the 3. And if you look up above, you'll see that 3 is tri. So far we have di-nitrogen, tri. Okay, and step 4 says write the name of the second listed element with the "ide" ending. So far we have di-nitrogen, di-nitrogen, tri, and now step 4 says to write the name of the second listed element with the "ide" ending. Where our second listed element is oxygen, so we're going to find oxygen and write oxide. And this is our answer. N2O3 is dinitrogen trioxide. All right, nice. So there are rules that you need to remember when naming covalent compounds. If the first listed element has 1, or honestly, if it has no subscript, then you do not write mono, because for 1, the prefix is mono, okay? So for example, C, instead of monocarbon, it would just be carbon. And then since there is just the O, or that silent 1, we would have the prefix mono, and then we would write out the oxygen, which is oxide. So this would be carbon monoxide. So we could just rewrite this as you get rid of that extra O there. All right, just a heads up, my pen for the surface has died, so I'm currently writing with my fingers, so just be patient. All right, let's move on. So now we're going to go from the name to the chemical formula. So from like carbon monoxide to CO, okay? Okay, so it says to determine the chemical formula of phosphorus trichloride. So the first step says to write the chemical symbol for the first listed element. Well, the first listed element is phosphorus. Phosphorus is P. Okay, so far so good. Let's move on. The next step says to use the prefix to determine the subscript small number of the first element. Since phosphorus is alone, remember if there is no prefix, then the subscript is 1. So we can just simply leave it as phosphorus because the 1 is silent. It doesn't have to be there, okay? All right, now step 3, again, we're trying to phosphorus trichloride. All right, so step 3 says to write the chemical symbol for the second listed element. So it was phosphorus trichloride. So the next symbol will be chlorine for chloride. So we have our P, and then trichloride is just chlorine, so it's going to be Cl, and then you're going to use the prefix, the tri, okay, so it should be P for the phosphorus, Cl for the chlorine, and then 3 for the tri, for the subscript. So use the prefix tri to determine the subscript, which is 3, for the second listed element. So phosphorus, P, trichloride, Cl3. Okay? All right, I think that's all I have for you guys.